Alright, so I decided to clean the bed. And I decided to record cleaning the bed. I already knew I was going to clean the bed. Decided to record it. So I have this big can of denatured alcohol and strategically cracked the cap so I don't have to take the cap off. Squirt some on there. Got the old trusty coffee filter because they're low lint. Put the paper towel. I seem to put lint all over the thing when I use paper towel. This will still make a little bit of lint if you let it get too dry, but I find it far better. I'm just spreading it around right now. I'm not trying to remove it, the glue. I think I'm going to scrape it. I find better results. There's a pretty thick residue on here, and so I'm just going to scrape it with my awesome Matterhacker spatula. I believe it's Matterhackers that make it. Anyway, that's where I think I bought it. Super nice. This thing like tapers down to very thin, pretty thick up here, very thin at the tip. Very nice. I've got this many years ago. It's flush at the bottom, slightly bent, so you can, so the hand, nothing, so you know it's very usable. And I was flapping my gums and all the alcohol evaporated. So I'm gonna hit it again and flap my gums less this time before I get to it. Spread this around and then scrape it before it evaporates. Jeez. Just very simply scrape this glue off. Like I say, this spatula is one of my favorite printing tools. It comes in so handy. This isn't what it's designed for necessarily. It's really great for prying prints off. Although it's less of an issue now. It was much more of an issue when I had rigid beds on my other printers. You know, now that my last couple printers have flexible spring steel beds, it's much less of an issue. But you can see here, look at all that. That's a lot of glue. Wipe that off while it's still wet, so it's easy. This stuff, this is PVA, so this is the same stuff with the dissolvable supports. I saw a video yesterday of somebody using dissolvable supports, like it's, oh, this is the coolest thing ever. But what do you do with the water after? Like, I tried it, and I'm like, what do I do with this gross sticky water after? And you can't put it down your drain. I mean, you can put it down your drain, but it's not a good idea. It's going to wreak havoc somewhere. I mean, they recommend don't pour it down your drain. And so I'm wondering what these people do, like a big vat of disgusting, slimy glue water. I don't get it. And this was my first 3D printer I bought, was the Wellsbot TAS 6, primarily because it had high temperature capabilities, and you know, medium higher than common, and it had I had a modular print head, so it was pretty easy to swap print heads, and then you could buy other print heads, which I did, and I had a dual material one, which I thought was going to be so cool. But it turned out, once I figured out that the PVA stuff was gross and you couldn't put it down the drain, and what do you do with it? I was thinking about the other day, so what could you actually do with it is you could, I'm going to put more glue on here. I'm going to do another round. I'm going to get this drawer here, get another filter without messing the camera up. Alright, in the filter. I'm going to give it another pass here. It's looking pretty clean, but obviously there's still some glue on there. Go with a whole lot of alcohol. And yeah, so I was thinking yesterday, you know, you could potentially like put the water, like intentionally evaporate the water, like pour it onto a big filter media or something, and then evaporate the water away, and then you'd be left with a bunch of PVA again. Seems like a real hassle. I mean, I don't know what you do. You throw it in the landfill? I don't know. That really turned me off from PVA, because they just made it. They don't tell you that in the advertisements, you know. And you know, they sort of glorify, oh, this is the greatest thing. It's so easy. It's water soluble. It's safe for the environment. Yeah, everything's safe for the environment, right? Oh, and I'm not off the deep end. But I'm like, I don't want to pour mercury in my drinking water. I don't want to put, you know, I want to admit, you know, I waste a lot of plastic, as we all do, but try to not be just excessive about it. And that sort of turns me off. Wow, there's like bumps. I think I need to clean off underneath. There's like a bump here and a bump here. I think I have debris between the print bed and the magnet surface underneath. And I've had that happen before and scrape it off. So maybe I can capture that in this video. That's getting pretty clean. I don't necessarily want to take all the... I don't want to necessarily print with no glue on it. But I figure if I start clean here, and then I put a thin layer, and then I dilute it. And actually, there's still going to be a little bit of glue on here. It's starting to get a little sticky over here because the alcohol is drying. I'm going to call that good enough. I mean, I can see glue on this, and that means there's still a thin layer of glue on that. So I'm going to call that nice. And maybe I should have cleaned the... Oops. Maybe I should have cleaned the underside first, because now I want to touch the top side. But I'll just clean it one more time on the top. But I think I have debris here and potentially elsewhere underneath here. I did make the mistake don't make this mistake. I made this mistake one time where I cleaned the top surface of the bed, and then I was like, oh, I get alcohol on the thing, and I wiped this with the alcohol, but I wasn't thinking, and it was diluted glue alcohol. And then so I put it back, and I couldn't get the bed off. And that's why you can see a little bit of sort of scuffing there. And I do have a new magnet sheet if I wanted to go through the trouble of removing this and putting on the new magnet sheet, because I got a new bed a while back. But I don't think that's worth the hassle. But what was going on here? Oh, shoot. So I want to clean this spatula well before I again get glue on that. As I said, I did. So I'm actually going to do this. I'm going to get yet another paper towel. I'll just grab a whole pile here. I'm going through these. I'm going to have to bring some more out. I'm going to thoroughly clean both mating surfaces of this with alcohol also, independently. We're going to go there, guys. So I'm going to throw some alcohol on there. A little more than I asked for, but that's fine. This is the underside. I'm going to be so happy after this. So I used it, this time I used a new, I haven't actually cleaned the underside. Oh, I can feel a dimple, bump here. There we go. It feels like I got that off. Did I do the alcohol to clean this after? I must have. After I glued it after I glued the bed onto the magnet. Like a dummy. So don't do that. Oh, this feels super clean now. It felt rough when I started it. Now it just feels super silky smooth. And I think I can reuse the same piece here for this part. Maybe I need some more alcohol, but this will be a good start. And I can feel a significant amount of roughness here. But again, some of it may be just damage from when I glued it on there and I had to get it apart. I was like, it was a little bit of a panic situation for me. I was like, oh no, I glued my magnetic bed together. Alright, I'm going to need more. That is a little bit rough. But I think low spots aren't as bad as high spots on this part, because they would just kind of float over the low spots, whereas the high spots will make a bump. That's pretty rough right there, but I think that might be damage from that stupidity. So nice. Oh, look at that. What was I gonna say? Oh, nice thing about this new phone. So I'm sort of transitioning to the new phone here. but I'm not using it as much because sorry I don't have my headset. It's pretty quiet, so hopefully hopefully the audio is okay here. Usually I put my headset on, but then this phone, I didn't even think about it when I bought it. It doesn't have a headphone jack, and if I plug in my if I use like a Bluetooth dongle for my headset, it uses the camera mic for recording the video audio instead of using the boom mic on the headset, which is unfortunate and seems silly. Though I asked Bing yesterday, tried to ask Reddit on 3 different forums, how do I do this? Audio engineering and audio troubleshooting, and they all deleted my content. They all deleted my question because they're like technical questions. One of them was called tech support, and the reply was, tech support's too boring. We need it to be fun, so we're not letting you post your questions. So, and I tried 3 different forums, and they all said that, and I was like, how ridiculous is that? Thanks, Reddit. Well, I mean, it's not Reddit. It's the individual subreddits management, but seems systemic. So I gave up on Reddit to ask the question, and I asked Bing, and Bing said, yeah, there is no setting for that. Look at that. Bing said, yeah, there is no setting for that, but if you download a different camera app, some of them have the option to choose which microphone. And so, at some point, I'm going to do that. Although I did realize that I did find one workaround, is that if I use my Insta360 audio adapter, because they are also evil enough to not include an audio jack and have it, so they have this proprietary adapter thing, and I'm confusing myself now. I think I was able to make that work. I have to double check that. I think I might have been able to I don't know. I'm gonna back off that. I'm gonna try that again because I'm not sure now. All right, fresh piece of coffee filter. Still rough. I mean, I feel little bumps with dirt and contaminants, and you pull this thing off a million times, you think, how would I get dirt in there? I don't know, but it gets in there. This feels so rough over here. I got a dot there. I don't know what it is. Yeah, it's definitely a little bit of low spots here from when I damaged it like a big dummy. Let's hit, I want to clean the spatula before I do this. Let's get all the glue off the spatula here, and then give it a little bit of a scrape. Yeah, super nice spatula. I recommend this to anybody. It's not as, like I said, it's not as important now with the flexible beds. But boy, I tell you what, when you had the rigid bed and you had a lot of surface area, and you got to a point where, hey, I'm going to break the bed, and the beds were super expensive, and I mean for that Taz 6, the heated bed assembly was like $150 or something ridiculous like that, and I went through a few of those, at least a few, probably 4 of those. I bet I bought 3 more after the original one, because just over time prints would get stuck and you just damage it removing it. So that's pretty clean. You can feel high spots there, or roughness. I don't know if I can't be sure if they're high or low. Yeah, so I was starting to say, the nice thing about this phone is that it doesn't have a time limit on recording. So my other phone would stop recording after 5 minutes. And I tell you, I had so many times where I swear I would have saved the world with my commentary, but the silly phone stopped recording after 5 minutes and didn't even give me a tone to warn me. And so I'd be like talking to the ether and not recording. and it would just I still have this little red spot right here, and it's being stubborn. I don't know if it's embedded. It's got to be embedded because I'm pushing on it right there. I can't even feel it. Oh well, must be a low spot, or at least, you know, flush. So this should be an improvement. I've never done this thoroughly, especially having had glued the bed to the rag that one time. That one time I messed up. That's the only time in my life I ever made a mistake. Alright, I'm going to hit it one more time with a fresh piece of filter. And a little more alcohol. Give it a good wipe. What is that? It's like a scratch there. That's weird. I don't know how that could happen. It still feels a little rough, and I still see like a white spot there, and a couple of little white spots there, a little white spot there. I mean, that stuff's probably just burned right in. Especially as I've been doing, I just did, I don't know, at least 10 prints in a row of ASA at 100-degree bed with the top closed. Well, I guess if the bed's modulated at 100 degrees, it doesn't matter if the top's open or closed, does it? Sometimes, and by sometimes I mean like all the time, I say things, and I really, as soon as I say it, I'm like, wait a minute, that was not the smartest thing I ever said. Alright, that is clean. And now I'm going to clean the underside of the bed one more time, because I probably just dropped a bunch of dust on it because it's the downside up, or some people might say upside down, like everyone else. But no, it's more technically accurate because I'm talking about the downside, and so it's downside up. I know I'm like whispering now. I forget that I don't have my headset. When I have my headset, I think I kind of sound like Barry White, you know, FM. I can kind of talk really low volume, and the headset picks up it all. But without the headset, I'm probably audio is probably not coming through very well. Hopefully, good enough. All right, let's hit. Yeah, so I just hit this guy one more time with some alcohol. Get this super nice and clean. Hopefully, this thing sits nice and flat now. Oh, is that one more? There's still a little divot, a bump there. Oh, I got it. So that might have just fallen on here, like I was saying, as I was sitting here, downside up. Another one there. Can I get it? Oh, that one's stubborn. Think I got it. All right, this is nice and clean. Unfortunately, like I say, the magnet side is not nice and undamaged, so it's not going to be perfect no matter what I do. What is this guy? And I'm going to hit that one more time. I know I just touched it, and that's not good, but I'm going to hit it one more time anyway. I'm just going to reuse this one and fold it inside out, just to give it a little bit of extra, getting the extra stuff off. This area is where it sort of calibrates the height, I believe, so I want that really clean. I'm gonna hit it one more alcohol. I'm gonna reuse the same one though, because it's very clean, I'm sure. This is the most, oops, sorry about that. I was talking about this area up here where it hits to calibrate. I think that's a critical spot when it's calibrating. Even if you don't check calibrate, it seems like it checks the four corners and then it goes over, oh no, maybe it goes over there and then checks the four corners. Now I feel a little bump right there. So I'm willing to bet there's going to be an imperfection there. That is not the printer's fault. That is the operative's fault. Oh, it's bumpy over here too. Bumpy over here too. Why is it all bumpy? I mean, another one here. I can feel these bumps. Like quite a few. I mean, is the bed slightly damaged? Tough to say. Oh well, it is what it is. And as I said in the past video, like the perfect first layer isn't critical to me anyway. It's just a nice to know. You know, it's nice to get it as good as you can. And if there's a few little imperfections, that's going to make no difference on my usability of my prints. All right, that is about as clean as I'm going to get it. And so I'm going to put a little glue on there and then smear it around and get it uniform. Just a very thin layer of glue. I don't even want to be able to see it after. That might have been a little more. Yeah, there's a big bump right there. Why is there a big bump right there? Is that right on that damage? Yeah, that's right on that damage. Although, when I lift it up, it's still there. So, evidently, the print surface is it's a little bubbly. Not necessarily due to underneath. I think it's just like that. I think it's maybe it's because I'm printing so much at 100 degrees that it can only take so much, which seems unfortunate. Maybe I will look into an alternate print bed material, but I do really like this print bed material. So I think I'm gonna not care about that anyway. It's just a little bump, and my prints will be fine. But it could throw off the calibration if it tries to calibrate on a bump. But I don't feel bumps on the corners, which is good. And I don't feel bumps here. It's a little rough maybe. That could just be because it gets used so much and probably has a bunch of glue on it. Maybe, I don't know. A bunch of melted plastic. But now it feels good. So this should be a very thin layer of glue. I like that. Alright, so I am going to run this, and we'll check back and compare the two. Compare the before and after the thorough cleaning. Alright, if you're still watching, evidently you might have liked it, and so maybe you could hit the thumbs up, consider subscribing, share with your friends, comment, questions, requests, ridicule. It's all good. See you in the next one.